isolating the fact that, number one, he comes from a terrific family and background that helped him get where he got to. When you're that type of iconic figure at some level coming out of high school, it's hard to manage that. And there couldn't be a more humble, down-to-earth family or kid to deal with. I mean, what a pleasure to coach and a great family to deal with throughout the course of the season. Really, he's tremendous talent, better person, and has so much upside that we would never get to see in Indiana just based on his amount of time at school. Back in the day, if Romeo was a second-year player, third-year player, could he have made it in the early 90s, late 80s as a fourth-year player like guys did, you would see the all-time leading scorer in Indiana. You would see the all-time Big Ten race be right there. That's where he would have developed into, like so many guys that don't stay in college nowadays. But he's that type of player who really got his first real experience of ups and downs and adversity. And boy, this is hard. His first day on campus in June, July, August, and then he finished in March. If he could have repeated a second year and not gone through all that, man, would you have seen something even more special than you were able to see. He played in the #1 conference in the country a year ago. And as a freshman, I believe set almost every mark for freshmen in the league last year. From certain aspects leading into the draft, as we talked to the NBA, his efficiency and points per possession off screens and off ball screens and all this stuff, he was like #1 in the country, even ahead or right below guys like Cassius Winston and older players that had been in it. It's just such a unique thing to be on that type of a stage and ridiculed or nitpicked apart at 18. And man, if his name would have been Mike Smith, everyone would have been like, what a great season he had. What this, that. He had a great year for us. He played injured with a torn thumb ligament, which was suffered before we went to Duke. He played every game and never missed a practice after he did his thumb and decided not to have surgery, just to play through it, and at the end of the year he would have that fixed, which he did, which hurt his draft workouts. I don't necessarily know if it hurt his draft status a whole lot, but he was taken out of the individual kind of competition things when a lot of guys were trying out and competing. But we knew anywhere from 7, 15, somewhere in there he was going to go. And what a great opportunity he got, being drafted #1 in the lottery and #2 to the Boston Celtics. I mean, great organization, unbelievable leadership. You got Brad Stevens as the coach, who's conditioned to know young people coming in. They're about development, and they're good. And he's around winners. He's around pros early in his career. So that's a great opportunity for him. And I expect Romeo to be as good as he wants to be, because that's what he can do. And he'll be back next week, I think. Sometimes he says he's coming back and he doesn't come back, and sometimes he's not supposed to be back and he's back. But he's been back a ton to our campus since he's been drafted, which is a great thing to have. He could be anywhere right now, but he comes back and he doesn't want to get a hotel room. I guess he doesn't want to pay for it. So he sleeps on Rob Finney's couch. That's what you're dealing with. That's what you got. That's what you kind of have right now. You know what I mean? You got a young guy that comes back and wants to come back and hang out with his former guys and see what's going on, and he sleeps on a teammate's couch. That's the cool thing about it. But we're looking forward to obviously watching him progress. And then as he gets a little older and wiser, we continue to bring him back. But he'll be a great advocate for not only our program, he'll be a great advocate for IU and the state for a long, long time.
Ben, Coach Lee, you got a question?
Yep, here we go.
Hey, Coach. First of all, big fan, everyone here is. Really like the direction you have for IU basketball.
Thank you.
My question is, a couple players do you have in mind that are due for like a good breakout season? I mean, we see we bandy some names around like Rob or Deron or something like that, but Amizi maybe. But what do you think? A couple players.
Well, we have a couple guys that are going to be given the opportunity and role to really step into a new, not position, but new role in terms of productivity. We're going to need some guys to do some things that they haven't done. I would look at our two seniors. I would say both guys, from an offensive standpoint, are two of our best, but they're two of the better guys in the league as offensive players. Deron inside is a true guy you can throw the ball to, and he's not selfish. Throws the ball out, can pass out of the post, good offensive rebounder. Right now, knock on wood, he's shooting free throws and jump shots from about 12 to 15 feet, as good as anybody on the team. I think Deron has a chance, and let's get him going health-wise like he was early in his sophomore year. Let's make him a focal point of what we're doing. Because I think Deron is a senior, has experience. And Devontae, as the guard position, I think has a chance to do some things. I would go with Joey Brunk, Justin Smith, and Al Durham. Again, as third-year players, you're going to require those three guys to produce. They've been in college. You know, they have to do more than they've done in the past. So you look at your older guys. Rob playing a lot of minutes as a freshman, you would think as a soph. Usually that's your biggest jump as a player. Get through your first year, now your second year is a lot easier. Rob's had the ball in his hands a lot. You hope that Rob can be rock solid for you again, but you know, I look at him as being a guy. And Demezi and Jerome, you know, they have basically a clean slate. You know, anything they do to help and be positive and play more minutes and get on the floor is going to be a good thing. But all of them, I told the guys today, I don't see one player looking back at me that isn't saying, I'm playing, coach. And then sometimes, you know how that works. God looks at you and says, I'm playing, coach. And I look back at him, I don't say it. I'm like, no, you're not. We all know, you know what I mean? We got that one guy, he's like, oh man, I'm going to have a great year. This is going to be big time, or whatever. I'm looking at him like, yeah, keep working. Maybe the following year, you know? Because you just don't see the avenue, because there's players in front of them, or they're older. I don't see a player on our team that can't have an opportunity to help us play. You know, that's 11 guys. You know, there's 11 guys competing for minutes and think they can play, and the coach is looking back saying, I need you to play. I need you in the game to help me. You know, and I think that's going to be a unique thing with this team. So there's a lot of guys that can jump. A couple guys, obviously, you hope, or your senior guys have, you know, those type of caliber years. You know, Juwan a few years ago, you know, I saw pretty early with Juwan as we first got there that he was going to be thrust into that. Hey, we need him to do more. We need him to, he's going to have to score. I think we have a few guys like that on this team, but this deal is going to be by committee 1 through 11, and no one's more important than the next guy. If you're a team that has 7, 8, 9, 10 guys in the scoring box in the game, you're going to be a good team. That's what we got to try to do.
You know, Coach, you mentioned you had a fantasy league. When the new Cook practice arena and the new locker room opened up, we got, Lisa and I, my lovely wife right here, got a private tour through the new locker room. And Scott was showing us the locker room, and Lisa's shoulders walked right over to Victor Oladipo's locker and handled his underwear. Should I be concerned?
I'm not even interested. I'm good.
Okay. Questions?
Unless I say better on.
Hey, Coach, back here we have a question. And it's going to be hard to follow up after that comment.
I'll do my best to distract from Pat's disturbing
Oh, there we
questions.
go.
Coach, tell us what it's like a little bit, and maybe a little bit of generalities here in recruiting. What it's like to work with, you know, high school seniors these days. What are they into? How do you connect with kids and get them excited about Indiana Hoosier basketball?
I tell you
Was
that.
that from Ben Truckman, a candidate for city council in the first ward? Oh, I think that was Ben. Go ahead.
You know, it's a good question. Recruiting is an ever-changing and fast dynamic, and as crazy as this sounds, you know, every one of you guys can pull that phone out of your pocket, and that thing is like so powerful right now. It's kryptonite to young people in a bad way. Learning how to talk and going to sleep at night, you name all the things that thing is doing. But I will tell you, from a recruiting, momentum, hype, you name it, you can do it. And they're all over it. And I think we have one of the best, obviously, from what Mark Cuban did for us a few years back, creating the Cuban Center, us developing the sports aspect of marketing and what's going on. We're as good as any. I mean, people hire people from Indiana to go to other places to show them how we do it. That's how good it is. Our basketball program's at the cutting edge. When you look at the Instagram pages, the Twitter pages, the followers, millions of people following our Twitter program. You look at some of the product that we could put out there, that we do put out there, behind the scenes, on airplanes, in locker rooms, during practices, it's just like people gobble it up. And for this kids nowadays, you spend more time on FaceTime than you do calling. You know, you pick up the phone and you call him, he's not answering. You don't want to talk on the phone. If you FaceTime him 60 seconds later, he will pick up. You know, it's just a different world this day and age. They'd rather look at you and say, what's up, talk 35 seconds and hang up than answer the phone and say hello. You know, it's just a different world. So yeah, I think recruiting the young people nowadays still comes down to the same things, though. You got to do a great job of surrounding his circle, his support system, his coaches, his parents, grandparents, guardians, whoever it may be, and you got to infiltrate them, and they got to want to be around you and trust you. And I think that's worked well for us with the way that we do things, the guys that we get. Like I said, they try to come for the right reasons, and I think they believe in us, and clearly we show we believe in them. But you know, recruiting is, I mean, it's a unique thing right now. We were talking about it on the way down here, you know, and you know, high school juniors, you know, sending a picture to them. Good luck versus North Harrison tonight. You know, you can do anything, you know, with these phones and whatnot. So it's just cutting edge stuff. I feel like we're at the real forefront of that. But it still comes down at the end of the day, the same stuff. Does mom like you? Does dad like you? Does grandma like you? You know, can you get their camp to want to be a part of what you're doing? And like I said before, we have a great sell. School, degree, facilities, fans, tradition. I mean, there's nothing we can't sell. Trustees. One in particular.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Ben.
Okay, Coach, last year obviously there was a lot of injuries. Other than the injuries and just having a healthy roster, what's one trait that you hope to see out of this team and the teams going forward?
That's easy. Handle adversity. Handling adversity is the hardest thing for anyone to do. It's really hard for an 18, 19, and 20-year-old to do this day and age. Like I said, those phones are crazy. You know, those phones are crazy. And when you want to pick your phone up after a big win, it feels good. You want to pick that phone up after a tough loss. Oof. You know, it's not so fun sometimes. But I think handling adversity, everyone says clear out the noise. Everyone says eliminate distractions. But the best truly find a way to do that. And I think handling adversity and going through adversity, learning from your mistakes, you know, as an older player, getting older, you know, learning the ropes, so to speak, of it's a long year for these guys. And injuries are a part of it. You know, sprained ankles, concussions, it's going to happen this year. But the guys that are there got to understand that, number one, we're good enough. Number two, what we do works. And we're not going to get distracted. We're not going to get too high or low. And I come back to that same word. Just work every day, have great humility, and find a way to navigate through difficult waters, because everybody has to do it. Some of your best seasons, individually or as a team, Todd, you can probably speak to it. Some of your toughest moments as a player or a team, in many ways, may have been the springboard to the best moment as a player you ever had, or a team had the greatest success because you were able to bounce back or find a way. To me, that's part of what the fabric of our program has to be, handling adversity.
Okay. Next.
Coach, given the pressures of recruiting big-time college basketball, what did it mean to get Romeo, and did you feel we had to get him? And once you did get him, what did it mean overall to the entire program?
Just say tri-state somewhere in there, Mike.
Tri-state.
I think Romeo's is a lightning rod. You know, we're at the very beginning stages of our tenure, and you know, for us to be able to work with him and his family all the way throughout, and to find a way for them to say, you know what, Indiana's the place. And I think they would look back at it right now and say, man, what a great place to come back to. And I hope his family comes to as many games as they want to come to for the rest of their time. That's part of what we try to do. But he meant a lot in terms of, in my opinion, a guy like Trace. You know, don't think that that didn't have a big, big imprint in Trace coming up behind them and watching Romeo, playing against Romeo. It didn't means something to Trace to be the next guy behind, or the next guy behind him. It plays a role. I don't care who you are or where you are, especially in a state like this where basketball is king, that your best guys go somewhere and it makes it cool. I mean, I just think that means a lot. I mean, that doesn't, I don't care who you are or where you are, at a place like this that has the state behind it and has the high school coaching, the grassroots coaching, has young kids playing basketball, going to games. I mean, it just means a lot. I mean, this is a unique place. I've said it's a unique state, but you know, when you can have that going for you, you can play with anybody. I think the players in the state can play with anybody in the country. They've shown that. Just look at the guys that have come here, look at the guys that go other places. You know, there's tons of guys every year that are terrific players. And you know, the ones that come to Indiana, you know, those are the ones that we hope do a great job.
Great, one or two more, and then we're gonna have time for some selfies and some autographs. Right, Luke?
Coach, you were talking about humility, and I noticed that Pat Shoulders' name did not come up.
You know, he's always been full of crap.
Well, Pat graduated from IU with a BS, so if that tells you. I will forever regret saying this, but Pat Shoulders was influential in getting the IU Medical Center located in Evansville, and it has revolutionized our downtown. It's revitalized it, and I just want everybody to give him a round of applause.
He's not full of crap. He's a great American. Thanks, Luke.
Okay.
I'm glad admission was free.
Okay. I've got just a couple of things. I just want to say that Jawan Morgan was the toughest son of a gun I have ever seen play basketball at IU. I have never seen a kid dislocate his shoulder and come back and play the second half. I mean, it was just incredible. My question is, we are in an era of college basketball kind of imitating the NBA. How is, when you run the offense that you do with the high ball screens and taking the ball to the basket and kicking it out for the three, is that something that you do because the kids are accustomed to playing that? I mean, it's obvious that AAU teams and so forth do that, and so many of these kids have such great athletic ability that they can take it to the basket and kick it out and so forth.
I think spacing has changed over the course of time, where the game is tried to play in as many spaces as you can. And the on-ball screen, more than an off-ball screen, has become a dominant thing. If you look at the NBA, the shot clock is so short, and you're going to basically get into something very fast, and somebody's going to play in a two-man game. College has some gone to that, you know, a little bit. I think sometimes the outliers are the teams that come back around and start to go into the old school motions and playing after the play. I think the Warriors were a lot different in the NBA here recently with their shooting and how they play. I think we have to get back to playing a little bit more of the ball moves, the players move, and less about the spacing, more about the movement and the concepts. And I think you're harder to guard. We're so used to guarding some of the other stuff that everybody's doing that sometimes you run into that one team or two that does something a little different. You're like, man, this is foreign to us. Well, when Todd played, it was all motion and off the ball. You know, you see a team that runs motion now, and you're like, won't see this all the time. So everything kind of comes back around. But for us, I'm excited about this team and how we have to play. We have to play with great pace, and we have to utilize our inside-out game with our sides. But we also have to move the ball where there's a lot less handling and a lot more passing, cutting. I think that will help us. And we got to shoot the ball better too. I mean, if you can shoot, I don't care what you run. You know what I mean? It's like, damn it. Like, I didn't have that problem. I keep telling the guys all the time, I'm like, shit, I just shot it and went in. I don't really know what you're talking about. I didn't need any of these drills or whatever. Just throw me the ball. If I was open, I shot it and it went in. It wasn't that hard, you know. And they look at me like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, I'm telling you right now, I could probably beat you in this coat and this. We gotta shoot the ball better. And as a program, Indiana has to become a really good shooting program, a good shooting team. Recruiting it, developing it, staying with it, but shooting is a big part of that.
One more, and then we're gonna get time for a little personal time and sign and that sort of thing. Yeah, great.
Where's the key to successful leadership?
Man,
That one and then this.
the key for successful leadership, it goes a lot of different directions, but I've spent a lot of time this off season on that topic. And I would say what I've come to grips with is leaders really are authentic in the way that they live their entire lives. You know, because I mean, when you're authentic and you talk the way you talk, you walk the way you walk, and you exhibit every single day great authenticity and great truth to how you're about the right things, it's easy to lead. You know, but it's not easy to lead if there's one part of that skill set that's not intact. You know, you can't just be about basketball and then I'm not about anything else that's right. You don't get credibility. You have to really find a unique way to bring it out in people, but it starts with being able to really be about, one, what are you really about? Two, do you really live out what you're really about? And that's the greatest credibility I can give the best leaders or players that have led that I've been around. They really, at the end of the day, there's no fraudulence in them. And I think that starts with me all the way down. To become a better leader, to be able to teach leadership better, I have to be better in the leadership that I give, how I talk, how I walk, what they see. And you know, to me, hopefully that will trickle down. But great communicators, man. So the guys that can really communicate and talk, they have just a way with people. They always have the ability to connect. Those guys are always the ones you want to be around, you believe in. And you know, to me, as we look at our young people, as we develop them, you're always on a quest to make them better people as young players. And you know, I think that word leadership gets thrown out there all the time. You know, who are your players? Who are your leaders? Well, let's first figure out who's about the right things, and then we can build off the right things by, you know, allowing those guys to be at the forefront because they're authentic. You really are in this day and age. You're very authentic if you can walk and talk and be about the things that are really important. So leadership is deceived a little different way, but the way I think about it right now is really those authentic people. You know, they're really about the right things, but not only are they about it, they have a way of being able to live it fully. So, thank you very much for
One more right
being
here,
Oh,
and then we're gonna line you up. You've got
All
the
right.
final microphone.
Coach, my question is, I don't know where you can answer or not. It has to do with scheduling. The greatest rivalry to me was Indiana and college basketball was Indiana and Kentucky. When is it going to be renewed?
Great question.
That's been a hot, like I said earlier, I think when we talked, the Kentucky-Indiana series has been a hot topic since I got here. It's one of the first things that we talked about, not only before I was hired, when I first got in town, but I've been educated pretty thorough by Fred and Scott and our administration on what it means. What is it about? Then you talk to some of the former players and they start to talk about the RCA Dome and half of it being red and half of it being blue. And some of the best games I ever played in or ever went to was that game. You know, so I'm aware of all that. We've worked very hard as an administration and staff to understand each and every year's schedule is difficult, but we all want what's right for the landscape of our university, our fans, and college basketball. Indiana, Kentucky's a great thing, and Kentucky's done a really good job of working with us. We've done a good job of working with them. It's on the table. We're trying to figure it all out, but it's something that we're all hopeful will become a game of the future for everyone, because I do think that it's a great thing for both schools in general, but more importantly, I think for the memories and some of the things that come out of those games, those arenas, probably mean a lot more than you think they do when you start to think back about half of it being red, half of it being blue, sold out, 50,000, whatever it may be. I think those are all great possibilities, hopefully moving forward. And like I said, both schools are trying to work on those things, but we all each also have obligations with 20 games now in conference and different challenges that they move in. So it's always a work in progress, but it's definitely on the table, and it's something that we're all hopeful can be worked out again.
Thinking about Christian life.
Yeah.